You're watching Taste the Victory.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We are joined by one of the best players in the game, Dan Vang, finished 8th in the top 8 of Digimon North American Nationals, an insanely hyped tournament. Many people claiming he had Match of the Year in this event. So Dan Vang, you want to give yourself an introduction and then walk us through your deck?
Sure. Hi everyone, Dan Vang from Force Gaming, represented and sponsored by Imperial Collectibles. I had a really great weekend, a long weekend, especially for everyone. Just playing at least we played 16 rounds of Swiss and then Top Cut. That's a lot for anybody, but I was able to sneak into top 8, so that was a good time. And I snuck in with the AguBond deck. We can start with the babies and we'll go from there, okay? 4 Koromon and 1 Demi-Meramon. The Koromon is really the egg you want because this deck really needs to filter and see cards, so I'm swinging just to draw. I mean, there were times when I just evolved into Greymon so I can get a card draw off Koromon and hopefully I had a Marcus to kind of, add up some more effects. The Demi-Mera is nice though. Demi-Mera is really just there to boost your guys, so luckily if you had, a good stack with a security plus Greymon, you could possibly be swinging for like 8k without any joust help, so that's kind of nice. Especially, this format, a lot of the DP is a little lower than what we remember. Favorite rookie, Promo Agumon. I've been playing the game since 1.0, so when this came out, everyone's like, yeah, Agumon, great, so good. And then over time it fell down less and less, but now back in the spotlight. Very good, just makes your Greymon plus 2k. Sometimes I did have to evolve into an Agunimon. Did not feel great, I'll tell you that, but sometimes you got to do it just to draw and filter through cards. We ran a 2-2 split of the new starter deck Agumon and the old starter deck Agumon. The old starter deck Agumon is just nice, just the inherent 1k just to boost anything, so you don't feel bad evolving, into your hybrid with this. Same thing with the Agumon, as long as you're swinging with a player, you were able to get at least a power boost of plus 2k. Feels pretty safe, because this kind of substitutes for the Agumon anyway. If you're under the Sec plus 1 Greymon, right? It's about the same, plus 2k. On your turn anyway, swinging at a player, trying to get multiple checks. Was nice though, when I did evolve into one of my stronger hybrids, the Burning Greymon, it was able to just make him like a thick chunky boy, so I knew he probably wasn't going to die to security, so that was kind of nice. Next we have 3 of the vanilla Agumon. Going forward I might substitute these. It's nice just to play, to choke your opponent possibly at 1, and the 4k DP is relevant at times, right? But sometimes it was not helpful. I think if you watch the stream, there were some times where I had to pay 1 memory to Digivolve this guy. It did not feel good. But overall, 4k is still pretty decent. We're only running 3 of the BT6 Agumon, just because I'm not running too many bonds in here as well, just a 3-3 even split, only because Bond is the finisher in this deck, honestly. The real boss monster is the Greymon. He's the one who's like, I'm coming out, let me do some checks. Bond is just the finisher, so I felt like I didn't need too many of these guys out. And the last 2 are the Agumon Experts. Very nice. You can fetch anybody with Agumon in his name. You can fetch a Bond, you can fetch any Agumon that you're missing. Pretty good. I really liked it. I never got a chance to actually loop them, unfortunately. That would have been nice, but most matches I only saw 1, or if I saw the second one, I had to evolve in Raising and then evolve over it, so I never got to do the on-play, bring 1 back, and do it again. Overall, still good as a 2-of, in case you fight like a longer control matchup like Seccon or something, where you're like, alright, they're popping my bodies, I just gotta keep putting this guy out again, do it again and again.
Right, cool.
Our boss monster, Sec plus 1 Greymon, only if he has an Agumon under. So sometimes he was not Sec plus 1, that was not fun. But most of the time he is, because obviously most of them are Agumons. But yeah, he's honestly the boss monster. Like, he can potentially be 7k or higher, depending on your egg, joust. So it's really nice. He was living a lot more than he should have, honestly. Like, I'm sure if you watch some of the uploads of the streams, he was swinging, he was disgusting. He was swinging for like 2-3 checks and living, and that's a lot of pressure if you can get rid of 2 to 3 security and he's still on board. And if you're able to play an option to kind of kill your opponent's board, they have to answer this somehow. Otherwise, he's going to do it again next turn, right? So it's pretty scary for most decks. VP Geo Greymon, definitely amazing. Coming out of security, being another body, definitely helped out a lot. There were some matches decided just between one body, one security, so sometimes him coming out is great. I did have to digivolve into him oftentimes, just to kind of get that Marcus proc and then the Koromon proc, but sometimes, you know, it's not too bad. I did have to on-play him a few times by like just paying 6, but if I was already at 3 with Marcus and then they already had a memory tamer, it didn't feel too bad. He was definitely very useful in just getting rid of essentially threats that would come out on board. My hybrid package, 1 Burning Greymon and 2 Agunimon. Going forward, probably another Agunimon, honestly. But Burning Greymon did help. He was, like I said, he was a thick boy at one point. And he's really our only body that can kind of swing over like an Octomon or something. Like, at least some of these can crash or potentially swing over like an Ikakumon or threat over a Mechanori, perhaps. Like, so if you're 7K or crash into it, but he's only the only really like body that can swing over an Octomon, because 7K hurts this deck a lot. There was one game where I forgot who I was fighting. I think it was Chungman or John Gomes on BBC JG. He had an Octo and I couldn't get rid of it. I had to like atomic it. There was no way to actually swing over it, so it kind of felt bad wasting the option card sometimes. The finisher of the deck, 3 Bond. Like I said, you know, he's not the real boss, he's just the finisher. Rarely, you know, he'll come out. If I have him, you know, and I know I can set up the play, the opponent has to read that play and kind of understand, like, ooh, if he has Bond, like, I'm a goner. So you kind of set up that tempo for it. Really good. Just didn't get to play Bond as much as I wanted to, which is fine too, right? Because sometimes this is just the aggressive deck with just champion rookie rush anyway. Yeah. But times, you know, most clutch play, obviously the opponent has to read is like, if you're able to Bond, get rid of their last security or swing for the rest of it, you can just hybrid for game, right? That's really the biggest play that people have to worry about sometimes. But yeah, it's really good. He did die to security once in a while, though. He did hit someone else's Bond, so I didn't feel too good. There was only one game where I evolved into him, and he stayed on the board because I had 0 security. I think there was only 1 or 2 games at most. You know, if he stays on board, it's pretty good. Had a blocker on board, the Mechanori. Just the one of Mechanori, possibly 2 going forward. Maybe, we'll see. But yeah, he's super clutch in like a mirror match or even just against like AguBonds, right? Because they have to get to the Octo or the Ikaku to kind of get over this or crash into it. So it was really nice just dropping this. I think one of my opening plays, I just evolved into a rookie and I just slapped the Mechanorimon because I didn't have any other plays. And then luckily I was able to choke the opponent out over time where they couldn't Howling it. You know, I would always give them like 1, 2, and they didn't want to waste like Hammer Spark to Howling just this guy. So it's nice to put pressure and try to build up. And everybody's favorite, I think, the Terriermon and the Madokimon, or the Madoki Betamon. Just red doesn't have any memory blockers, so we got to play with what we got, right? Yeah. I was just flexing with the Alt-Art. I only have 1 Alt-Art Terriermon, but you know, he's cute. Wanted to flex with him. And the Madoki Betamon, I just felt like, you know, if you toss in a blue, maybe people are like, oh, is this guy bold enough or crazy enough to put an Ice Wall? I don't know. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just a little bit of mind games, but it's also just, you know, I only have 1 Terriermon anyway, and I was like, we're gonna see Gazimon, we're gonna see Chumon at Nats, we're gonna see Madoki Betamon at Nats. I was like, what's the memory blocker you're not really gonna see? The Terriermon, right?
Nice. Yeah.
Let it get some spotlight. As we know, luckily, Mituation, the security control player, actually, you know, teched in his Ancient Troymon, so that was kind of cool that he had the spotlight for green too, so technically all colors were represented in Nats at some point, especially in the top cut, so that was cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Moving on to the options, it's just 3 Atomic and 3 Gaia Force. Moving forward, you'll see my another tech card to get another 4th Atomic, but I think this was a good split. I really just put the Gaia Forces in because I was really thinking I was going to face more security control players, but I only faced 1 the whole day, so, you know, this is really just for, like, the Sakuyamons, honestly. Or maybe if I was facing like a yellow deck and they had like some Dynasmont matchups. But going forward, I definitely like the Atomic way more. But you know, just in case, you got to play to your odds, right? Because you don't know what variety you're gonna see at Nats. Oh, and especially this is just for Diaboromon matchup. We have a hard Diaboromon matchup, honestly. If they see just one stack, it's a really hard battle for us for sure. If they don't see the stack, we're good, right? Because then you can Atomic everything. But the second they see a level 6, especially the blocker level 6, nasty. I think I played against Nolan Lee, and he had a Diaboromon out. And he was bricking a little bit, unfortunately, and he just slapped the blocker one down, just hard casted it. And he was like, "Well, do you have Gaia?" And I was like, "I do not." And he won that game because he just got that tempo, just slapping down the big boy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
MVP option, just 3 Lightning Joust, so good. Never got the triple joust ever. Double joust though. I mean, this already feels disgusting, right? Under a sec +1 Greymon, but definitely triple joust, pretty nice. Adds to hand when it hits in security, so your opponent's gotta be wary of that. Options: 1 of Gravity Crush, 1 Trident Revolver. Gravity Crush definitely needed in the deck. I think I was running 2 at one point, and I was seeing it in security, and it's like, oh no, you know what I mean? Like, you don't wanna. You flip a red option, you're like, oh, but it's Gravity Crush. There's no effect, so it's a dodge. Nobody likes that. Trident Revolver, I was teching it in to try it out. This could just be an Atomic, honestly. There's very few times where I was able to get the Tamer effect off of it as well. There was like maybe 2 times, maybe 3 times. There was one matchup though where I was able to, where Trident came out, I had the BT6 AguBond out, and then I played a red tie to pass their turn. So that was kind of cool, but obviously that's a rare scenario, right?
Yeah.
And just the Tamers, just 4 red tie, 2 Marcus. You need tie, like you always want to see tie. If you don't see tie, there's a problem already for sure. Just the draw and promoting, gaining a memory is so good. And obviously if you have both in tandem, pretty good, right? If you can promote, gain a memory, you're already at 3, and then if you have a Greymon, you're just swinging, gaining another memory, so it feels really good.
Awesome. It's a lot more like bottom focus than I expected. Like AguBond isn't taking centerfold. That's really cool.
Thank you.
Okay, so this was like a 2-day event, so clearly there's like tons of matchups. We don't have to go through every single one in detail, but what did you end up facing throughout the tournament? What was the hardest matchup? You kind of like sounded like Black may have been. What was the easiest matchup?
Sure. I mean, I faced actually a little bit of everything. I faced at least a D-Brigade, a Secon, Jesmon, obviously Gobblebonds. I faced that AguBond Tribal Mirror. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I faced actually pretty much every deck. At least 1 Black Toolbox, Diaboromon, Lilith Loop. Obviously, everyone saw the Loop video.
Yeah.
I faced Muskets. I think I actually faced almost 1 of every meta deck, except Yellow.
Cool. Wow.
Good variety. I think, honestly, the hardest matchups is definitely Diaboromon. Diaboromon, like I said, if they find a stack, oh, it's rough. It's just rough.
Yeah.
And security control, I feel like it's a rougher matchup too, because you kind of try to go wide if you can, but if they find like the Gewalt or the Flare, it's like resetting, and it's kind of tough. Correct. That, like, just slapping a Cranium down is like, what you gonna do? And my answer is probably like nothing really. I'm just gonna try to go wide and hope we don't have Gewalt.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's really tough.
Yeah, it's really rough, unfortunate. Yeah. Especially now, I felt like Nats, the black deck, got a lot more popular with the EX1 support.
Yes. I mean, helping, to discard, draw, and get a memory, filter a little bit through. It's pretty good. They needed those tools. I wish those tools were available to them in like BT1.
Yeah, it would have been awesome to see black doing well then, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any changes you would make now after having played through this weekend?
Yes. Like I said, definitely this'll Burn Greymon will probably be a Goonie. Obviously they're not sleeves, so I did make some changes already. The Trident Revolver can be Atomic. These are probably the top 2. I was thinking maybe a 1 of tech of a Skull Greymon, possibly, maybe, but I feel like sometimes the deck is just too slow. It's tough because the Skull Greymon is like that big thick body we need to swing over like Octomons or 7Ks.
Yeah.
But he dies at the end of the battle, so it's like, like I needed you.
Right, yeah.
Just thinking about like how do we get around that? You know, we can't just keep atomicing every day. That's gonna run out eventually. Maybe teching a red reamer, maybe because some decks are going a little like wider, you know, so it doesn't feel too. That's great against Jesmon, right? They're gonna spam the board. You can reamer them for cheap, and they're like, oh, that's the thing.
Right.
I think those would be the techs probably going forward. I tried a Magnadramon in this deck before. It wasn't bad. It's just I don't know what I would substitute for it. You know.
Yeah.
At some point, I could sub in like the purple Skull Greymon and like the one of Magnadramon and make it like a rainbow AguBond deck. But you know that might be too much. That might be too much memeing and not actually helping the consistency.
Yeah, that'd be my worry too. Sounds like it. Yeah. Cool. That's a really awesome deck. Thank you for coming on and sharing that with us. You gave a shout out to Gaia Force Gaming earlier. Is there anything else you'd like to plug?
Yeah. Shout out to Gaia Force Gaming again. Shout out to Digital Academy, the boys. Shout out to the sponsor again, Imperial Collectibles. Shout outs to, let's see, Ethan, Danny, Giovanni, Nobu, Grayson, anyone else who'd help me with the AguBond list, because honestly, I would not have the confidence or the inspiration to run the deck if they didn't put first, right?
Right, yeah. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Dan, so much for coming on to the channel. Really appreciate it, and congratulations again on your top 8 finish.
Thank you so much.
All right, I'll see you guys next time.